Hey math fans, welcome to section 1.3.1. Let's get started. Miranda gets paid $300 each week to deliver groceries. She also earns a 5% commission on the total cost of each order she delivers. Write an equation that represents her weekly pay and then graph the equation. So first, let's define what X and Y are. X is going to be the cost of each order she delivers, and then of course Y is going to be Miranda's weekly take-home pay. And no matter what, no one can take this away from her, no matter what, which is nice. If she gets no orders, I always start with a constant. She's constantly going to have that $300 no matter what per week. So I always start there, plus 300. But she's also going to make 5%. Now remember, we write 5% as 0.05. And then we'll let X go right there. Again, X is the number of orders. And so we can then make a graph based on that. Again, I always like to start with the y-intercept, but you're going to notice that not a lot's going to be happening here in the very beginning. If you start going up by $1, if she gets an order that costs $1, 5% of $1 is not a lot. Your pay is not going to be increasing. So we should probably go up by $100 per cost of each order. And let's see how that graph works out. Actually, let's go up by $500. And if you take a look, if we plug $500 into the equation, 500 times 0.05 is 25. You'll end up with 325. So let's start graphing this. We always start with the y-intercept again. There's the y-intercept. And then if we consider that we're going up by 500 each time, there's 1,000. And then this will be 2,000 way over here. Let's see what happens here. So 500 will be 325, which is about there. But 1,000 would be what? 350, right? So maybe we should go up by 1,000. That would make more sense. So you might have to change these parameters a little bit as you're going. So, if we were going with really small intervals, you would barely even see this line kind of going up and to the right here. But which means at 2,000, we should be getting to 400. And again, this is a linear equation. It's going up by 5% every single time. And then I'll kind of just fill this in. And it's going to continue that way depending on how much each order costs. And then so that's going to be 5% plus that 300. So once again, you might have to play around with the numbers to get the actual Y values that will kind of make sense. You don't want to be going by 1 every single time. You might want to plug in some numbers and be like, you know what? A better graph would be it going up by 1,000 or 2,000. You're really going to have to think about it. So there might be a lot of erasing while you're doing some of these problems. So when you get started on the homework, there's a few things I want you to keep in mind. One, I always want you to make a table. It'll make things easier when you're graphing. So this is how you make a table. Mark it X and Y. Here's your equation right over here. And so I always start with the y-intercept. In this case, it'll be 2. And then obviously, if I could probably go up by 1s because the numbers are relatively small here. So 1 plus 2 is 3. I can plug in a 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And then we can kind of move on with our problem here. So how do you graph? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to be drawing a line, and I know it's going to be going through these points. So I will click on 0, 2, and I placed a dot there. 1, 3, place a dot there, and let's see if it goes through also 2, 4. It does. It goes through that one as well. And when you're ready to check your answer, you check your answer like that, and it'll turn green. Now, this is going to become kind of a pain later on if you're not making a table. So this is number 8 from your homework, and it says Maddie borrowed $1,200 $150 from a friend to buy a new TV. Her friend doesn't charge any interest, and Maddie makes $40 payments each month. What is the equation that models the money Maddie owes? Let X represent the number of weeks that Maddie has made payments, and Y represent the total number or the total amount of money that Maddie owes. Before you start typing numbers in for the equation, let's just think about it. Okay, we're going to let Y be the total amount of money Maddie owes. Okay, borrowed $12.50 from her friend, but making $40 payments each month. So this is the amount of money she owes. So right now she's actually owed $12.50. It's not going to be negative. It's not the amount of money that Maddie has. It's how much she owes. So it's already implied that this will be negative. But we're going to be making $40 payments. So we're paying this down, and that's where the negative is going to come in. Really important there to have the context of this problem. So we're paying this down. We're paying down the $1,250. So hopefully that will work out in the equation. Let's see if that works. Y equals negative 40x plus 1250. Oops. Hopefully that works. By the way, they said that they have trouble. Sometimes the comma works, sometimes it doesn't. So if I check my answer, did I check my answer? Yeah, I got it. Okay, so if you're getting it wrong, you might want to try it without the comma, but we got it right, so let's continue on. Now, before you start going down here and starting to graph, it's really important, I would say, make a table, because we need to get it through one of these spots on the grid exactly. If we don't get it exactly on the grid, it's not going to mark us correct. So let's try some numbers. So I plugged in 24, I picked a number that I saw down here on the scale, and it looks like my Y value will be 290. Now look at the scale, it goes up to 300. I'm gonna have a tough time graphing 290. So I need it to be either 100, 150, 200. So let me try again. Let me try 26. So as you can see, this is becoming a little frustrating, because if I want to plug in 26, I'm trying to get 210 here, and 26 will only let me go to 300. If you can see, it's really tiny right there. So I'm going to just see here. Okay, after a lot of guessing and checking, I finally found that 10, the way this graph is set up, I'm going to have to email them about this, but the way this graph is set up, I'm able to graph 10 and then 850, because when I plug in 10 times negative 40, and then you subtract that from the 1250, and you'll get 850. So let's graph that. And guess what? You don't have to do that problem on your homework, because I just did it for you. 10, 850. Let's see if this works. All right, it works. All right, we'll see you in class, guys.